You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hello, I'm Steven Willis from the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. He is John Fourcade, former Ole Miss legend and quarterback. John, how we doing, man?
Well, I've had some good days and I've had some bad days. I'm getting closer to the operation on the 24th of my back, so I've got to see doctors and get my EKG, heart test, and all this other stress test and see if I'm capable of having surgery. So I'm looking forward to it, get it over with. But, hey, it's part of life. Playing a football, as being a football player, you're going to have the injuries. Be my 33rd surgery.
You know, an NFL quarterback in the 80s, yes, I'm sure you probably had some medical issues.
Yeah, we don't play by the rules that they're playing by now. And back in the day, there was none of this ease up on the quarterbacks. It's everything is to the grind, and I'm paying the price for it. But I would never sit here and tell you that I wouldn't do it over again.
Yeah, and not only that, a New Orleans boy getting to play quarterback for the Saints, that's got to be a pretty special feeling.
Well, anytime anybody who's a local guy can go home to a local team like the New Orleans Saints, or if you're from Philly playing in Philly or Tampa playing in Tampa, yes, it works out well that you're able. Hey, it's a dream come true, and I took advantage of it.
You know, in this game that Ole Miss had against South Carolina, it's a situation to where, Ole Miss essentially dominated from start to finish of the game. And I'm sitting here looking at it. The offense didn't play particularly well, but that defense was suffocating.
That's one thing about this year, and what you haven't had in the past with this, I guess, the Lane Kiffins in the past. They've had some quality, talented players on defense, but just didn't get it done on defense. And granted, it's still early. The meat of the schedule's coming up. The big bad boys of SEC are all waiting. But if Lane Kiffin can get the offense back to where, and that's why I keep emphasizing these people, when they play these little, minor league teams, they have to play them. Teams have to play to get some money, and I don't blame Ole Miss for scheduling some of them, but I think they could have probably upgraded their scheduling and maybe some different teams from the FBS. But look, you went to South Carolina, a team that should have beaten LSU a few weeks ago. If they don't lose their quarterback, I think they win that game. They went in there, they took care of business. It was a 27-point game for them offensively. Defense, stuck it to South Carolina. If this defense could play like this week in and week out, this team is going to be in the top 12 playoff team, but they got to definitely improve offensively. Listen, I don't care what anybody tells me. I've been around. Dart has not been playing well lately. He's, and I'm going to say this right off the bat. He looks down where he's throwing the football. And all my friends were calling me to say, man, are you watching the same thing I'm watching? He stares down. He's not going his progression. It's here. It's to that one receiver, and then it's find something else after. He is staring down where he wants to throw the football.
Yeah, that is interesting, but he has been in a funk the last 2 weeks, and he normally doesn't have multiple bad games in a row, but now he's had 2 in a row, and he has gotten right against an LSU defense, but he desperately needs to get right against an LSU defense because they're going to be able to score the ball.
Oh, there's no doubt LSU's offense can keep up with Ole Miss's offense. Nussmeier has played phenomenal football. I was a little shocked that he was going to play this good. I knew he probably had it in him, but he has definitely showed the country and the world that, Gary Nussmeier is the real deal in the SEC. Now, defensively, that's where the weak link is for LSU. And if Ole Miss can get back to, 400 yards a game, throwing 3 or 4 touchdowns a game, and then Ole Miss will win this football game. But if it's going to be one of them close football games, don't count LSU out of it, because if it's in Baton Rouge, and you know what happens at nighttime in Baton Rouge, games are not easily played there. LSU has to win to keep the pace. Ole Miss has to win to keep pace. The loser is out of the playoff picture.
Yeah, and if you look at historically, whenever Ole Miss has went down there and they've been undefeated, they haven't come out of Tiger Stadium with a win. But if they go down there with one loss, they've come out of there with a win quite a few times. So maybe the Kentucky thing was a good idea. I don't know.
Well, the good thing about it is that Tennessee lost, Alabama lost, Missouri lost. So one team's only one undefeated team in the SEC, and that'd be Texas. So right now, Ole Miss has got to take care of business. Now, it's a week-to-week game. You cannot look ahead. This is the most important game on the schedule. It's this weekend's game. We all know that. It's one of the biggest rivals of all college football. LSU hates Ole Miss. Ole Miss hates LSU. You play in nighttime Tiger Town, Tiger Stadium. That is not going to be an easy task.
One thing that's interesting, you talked about Bama losing this weekend. They got beat by Vanderbilt. The last coach that got beat by Vanderbilt in their history was Ray Perkins, and he was the last coach that followed a legend. And I've said this whole time that Kalen DeBoer, we just don't know. He has good numbers and everything, but we do not know if he's not Ray Perkins reincarnated. And it's kind of flowing through, isn't it?
Well, listen. They could have easily lost to Georgia when they let Georgia get back in there. But when you go up 28-0, and you got to hold on and win and beat Georgia when you had them at home, and there's a game where, man, they could have easily lost that game, but they didn't. They took care of business to beat Georgia, and you knew they would come out flat, but not flat against Vanderbilt. I mean, it could have been anywhere else in the SEC, another school, but Vanderbilt. But look, Vandy played 60 minutes of football. Alabama didn't. I'm not sold on Alabama's quarterback. People think he's going to be a first-round draft pick. The guy's not an NFL-style quarterback to be a first-round draft pick. But with that being said, it opens up LSU. It opens up Ole Miss. It opens up some of these other teams. You got Missouri still in it. I don't know where Arkansas is at in this. Tennessee lost. So the SEC is not an easy league to play in. Any moment, any team can beat anybody. It's proven with Vanderbilt upsetting Alabama.
Hey, if Vandy wins 6 and gets to a bowl game, should they mention Diego Pavia for the Heisman?
Hell no. Come on. A 6-win team. Get the guy
a 6-win Vandy team. A 6-win Vandy team.
Yeah, you can mention him. And talking at a pub or a barbecue joint in Tennessee, but the national media is not mentioning him.
No, they're not. He would have no chance to do it. But that is very impressive. He is able to pull it off. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. Whenever we come back, we'll talk about the keys to the Ole Miss LSU game and what is to be expected in Baton Rouge, and also John Fourcade's memories of Tiger Stadium. Just hang tight for that. All right. It is, hey, NFL fans, you can start your season off with a big return on FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. Ole Miss is currently favored over LSU by 3.5 points in the game Saturday night. And if you notice, part of today's show becoming the real thing, you can do something about it. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Also, Game Time is the place to get your Ole Miss tickets with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from receipts, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying Ole Miss tickets. There's not a bad seat in Vaughn Hemingway Stadium, but you can see exactly what the view will be from the seat before you buy the ticket. They have the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. Take the guesswork out of buying Ole Miss tickets with Game Time. And with this being the most anticipated season in Ole Miss history, I might even be able to help you out with tickets as well. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. That's all one word. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. So South Louisiana boy John Fourcade sitting here getting ready for the Ole Miss LSU game. He famously played football at Ole Miss, played in an all-star game in Tiger Stadium. We've told that story before, wearing an Ole Miss helmet. That was pretty awesome. But what was your experiences in Tiger Stadium. What was it like playing quarterback in that environment?
Well, my freshman year, you go into Tiger Stadium knowing that you turned down LSU to go to Ole Miss, and you did play it in the bowl game. In the All-Star game, wearing an Ole Miss helmet in Tiger Stadium. In the walk-arounds as we got out onto the field, and this is a true story. We got on the field, and some of the student body, that guys that lived in the LSU stadium, that used to be a dormitory in the stadium. Well, they came out in our pregame walkthrough, and we're out there playing, running around doing our little pregame walkthrough, and someone throws a Jack Daniels bottle at us onto the field. I guess it was being thrown at me, and then that's just part of being the rival. The only sad story was, Steven, it was not full. It was an empty bottle of Jack Daniels. Like, hi, what am I going to do with an empty bottle? At least have liquor in it, where I could have took it home and drank it after the game. But look, going into Tiger Stadium is not the easiest place to play. And we play that game in the daytime. But going into Tiger Stadium at nighttime to play, and their records are at nighttime in Baton Rouge, it's unbelievable. Toughest place to play, I think, a football game is in Baton Rouge Tiger Stadium at night. We didn't do very well my 2 times I played in Baton Rouge. We hung in there for a while, and then the better team won. And, hey, got to live with it, and got to get ready for, cheering on LSU and Ole Miss this weekend. And hopefully the Rebels will go in there, like you said, with one loss. They played pretty well against one-loss team. So let's see what they can do with this one loss that they've had and go in Baton Rouge. I think personally that they can go into this football game, and I wouldn't say it's an upset because Ole Miss is favored, but they can go in this game and win it.
Yeah, analytics they're favored all over the crowd. Like Stats of War on Twitter, they do all those advanced stats. They're projecting Ole Miss with like a 75% probability of winning the game. And the probable score is like 30-21. So that was at least interesting to me. My first game between Ole Miss and LSU was in Memorial Stadium in Jackson. It was in '83. That was Timmy Moffitt running a punt back, and Ole Miss ended up winning that game. But all I remember from that game is my mom trying to protect my head and everything, because it was just a shower of whiskey bottles because she bought the tickets and they were in the LSU section.
Well, they known for bringing their whiskey to the games, and they'll let it be known when they're done drinking it, they got to get rid of it. So they're going to throw it onto the field or throw it at somebody. But look, these two teams don't like each other, which we all know that. It's a rival game. It means a lot. Like I said, playoffs begin now. It's not going to be at the end of the year. Ole Miss cannot lose another game. It maybe can lose one more game, but just look at the remaining of their scheduling. It's Georgia, it's Bama, it's Florida. It doesn't get any easier for for Ole Miss. So they got to go in this football game. If Ole Miss can go into this game, and listen, they got to unleash the offense. Lane Kiffin has to have his best game so far this year of calling plays. I'm not talking about those 4 first games they played. I'm talking about this game. He has to go in there and have an outstanding. They scored 30 points. They shouldn't win the football game. With that defense they have, I don't think LSU could score, 25, 26, 27 points against that defense. But you got to still play the football game. And all these analytics that go, you got 75%. Let me tell you what the only analytics it is. Ole Miss has got a 50-50 chance to win the game. It's either going to win it or they're going to lose it. And that's the only way it's going to be. There's no 75. You're going to either win it or you lose it. So that's a 50-50 shot there. And so my bet's on 50-50. One of them's going to win, one of them's going to lose. And I think Ole Miss wins the game.
Yeah, that usually proves to be correct as well. Anyway, John, what do you got going on this weekend besides this football game, getting ready for surgery?
Well, I turned 64 on Friday. I'll go up to Baton Rouge Saturday, go to the game, and just basically when that's over with, and then I get prepped and get prepared for, getting ready for the surgery. But it's going to be a good game. We got William Day, former Ole Miss player, Eagle Day's son. I'm going up to the game with him, bringing my other half. Tanya's coming with me. We're going to take her son, and then we're going to go up to the game and just tailgate, have some fun. It's going to be exciting. I'm glad it's a nighttime game because I don't like them Saturday afternoon games in Tiger Stadium where that sun, where we sitting at, that sun will be beating down on my face. But now it's an evening game. I'm looking forward to it. So let's get ready for the Rebels to go into Tiger Stadium. take care of business.
All right. You're going to tailgate at LSU. What's the food? Is it red beans? Is it etouffee? What are you looking for?
I'm not an etouffee guy. Tanya and them own a barbecue shop here in town, so a barbecue restaurant. We're going to bring a bunch of barbecue up there to the tailgating party. They'll have a bunch of whatever. I don't know. They might even have gator meat, gator bites. Who knows what they're cooking there. I'm just going to eat everything because you know why I'm eating it? It's free. And if it's free, it's for me. So I'm going to the tailgate party. We're going to eat whatever they got to eat, whatever they got to drink. I'm going to be there.
Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. John Fourcade, Ole Miss legend. Enjoy Baton Rouge, man.
All right, Steven. Take care, buddy. Be safe down there. Get out of there if you have to.
I will. It's not supposed to be that bad, but it's not going to be a fun day.
You better be looking at the right report because it don't look good for me where I'm sitting.
Oh, I'm inland.
Okay.
So,
well, it's still, you get a lot of wind now. You get a lot of damage. Just be careful. Be safe.
You will do. Thank you very much,
All right,
sir.
buddy. Thank you, buddy.
Bye.
All right, take care.